What's up, guys? Sorry it's been a little bit. It's been like 2 weeks since my last video, and yeah, it's been a kind of rough 2 weeks for me actually. It's about my living situation, and I thought I'd come clean to you guys in this video because that's the sort of thing that you do on a YouTube channel. You be honest with yourself and you be honest with everybody around you, and it's something that has sort of been bothering me for the past few months, and I think it's been a slow burn sort of, but it's something that I feel like I should address, and I've sort of addressed it on other outlets. If you watch the Cooper and Art show, you're probably familiar with my current living situation and how I'm sort of trying to find, well, actually, as of this episode, about an hour ago, I did find a new apartment, and I just signed the lease there. And so we'll get to that later in the video, but there's sort of a situation that's been brewing here at this apartment. And if you haven't watched my last video, go check it out right now. I gave you guys a tour of this apartment, $1,500, which I feel like is definitely a deal to live in the New York City area for that cheap. Obviously you can save your money. So there's that, but there's something that I wasn't fully honest about when it came to this apartment. And so I'm gonna go ahead and get into that. Where do I even start? I mean, this whole entire situation has sort of been a nightmare, and I don't use that word lightly either. I mean, I like to be positive. I like to say that, I've got the right things going for me in life, but sometimes you have to look around and assess the situation as it is. And I honestly, I can't believe that I let myself live like this for so long. There were red flags from the beginning, and I think I should have made note of that, and I think I should have done something about it before it just got this bad. There's just something about not being comfortable in the place that you live that really gets to you, and it takes being removed from that place in order to really figure out how that place might have been or it might still be impacting your mental health. I feel like after I told some of my friends about the situation, that they're like, dude, you got to get out of there. You have to get out of that apartment. I realized in the past few weeks, I do have to get out of this apartment. And so these past few weeks, I've been looking for apartments. We've talked about it a bit on the Cooper and Art show. Art went apartment shopping with me a few times. Finally found, finally struck gold. But I'll get into that at the end of the episode again. Please watch till the end. You're gonna love this episode because I feel like this is definitely the most honest and the most upfront and raw that I have been with you guys. And it's only my third episode, so you guys are getting it all. But where do I even start? I mean, I should have known when I first moved in. And I think it was sometime in January, because I moved in November. So I moved in I feel like a lot of people move in the summer, and I moved in sort of late, like after the summer. I moved in the beginning of November. So it was like kind of nice outside. It was right before it got cold. And the winter started, and apparently something in the roofing of this apartment, and if you didn't watch the last video, I live on a 5th floor, and that's the creaking of my chair. Disclaimer, this chair is not coming with me to the new apartment. But if you watched the last episode, you'd know that I live on a 5th floor. A call to walk up, there is an elevator, it's very slow. So sometimes I just use the stairs, but obviously if I'm like carrying stuff, I'm gonna use that elevator. But I live on the top floor, and the roof above me apparently has an issue with ice, and I did not know this. This was not told to me when I was touring this apartment or, signing my lease. Obviously, would have been something that I probably would have considered, maybe had second thoughts about before moving into here. But one cold January morning, I woke up and I was soaked, and I couldn't believe it. I was freezing cold and soaking wet, and I realized that the ceiling above me was caved in and there was water pouring on me. And I don't know, like, it's almost like a survival instinct that kicks in, because it's like, oh my God, like, the ceiling is literally crashing above me. Like, what do I do? And I just, at first I had no idea what to do. I thought that, this was my fault, that I did something wrong. Like, this is my first apartment. I have no reference for, what the rules are in terms of maintaining an apartment. And I try my best, I use all the resources around me. I've got my parents, I've got my friends who, have lived in apartments before. This was just so out of left field. And so the first thing that I did, I had to move everything out of my bedroom to get it out from under the water that was pouring through the ceiling. And God, it must have been hours of just agony as I was like moving everything under like what felt like rain, like really, really cold rain. This water was coming down brown because the ceiling has whatever types of, I don't know if it's insulation, I don't know if it's dirt that seeped through the roof, but this water was brown, and I knew that this was not sanitary. I knew right then that this was a risk to my health. And I just kept going because I had no choice. And when you're in that type of situation, like, you just move. Like, you don't think, you just do it. And you're trying to save all your possessions. You're trying to save my bed. I had never been in that type of situation before where everything that I had was at risk of being lost. And so I was, moving everything out, and I just thought to myself, like, how long is this going to continue? Like, am I going to be dealing with this all winter? And why wasn't this told to me before I moved into here? This seems like something that residents should know about. Obviously, if there's a major structural concern with the ceiling of this bedroom, the management company would know about this, and I contacted management. I was like, hey, like, it was, I think it was a Sunday. The office wasn't open, so I had to call their emergency line. And, I talked to somebody on the emergency line, and they were like, okay, great, thanks. They gathered all my information, 5 to 10 minutes. And I expected somebody to come, and they never sent anybody. And that was tough. I feel like it's weird realizing that you're in an environment where you are being neglected. I feel like a normal management company would have sent somebody immediately, or at first hour Monday morning if they couldn't send anybody on Sunday because it was closed, at least. But they never came. They just canceled the request, and they never sent anybody. And I mean, I've heard it all, but this was crazy. And I feel like at the time, I just thought to myself, okay, I guess this is my life now. Like, I just gotta live like this because I signed this lease. I'm contractually bound to this lease. And, it's my fault for getting myself into this situation. And I didn't realize at the time that, this was something far beyond the responsibilities that I hold as a tenant. And I didn't realize my rights at the time as the state law codifies. And I'll put a video of this in the video right now so you guys can see. I don't know how I lived like this, honestly. And this isn't even it. Like this is not even close to the end of this story because the management company didn't send exterminators into the building anymore. For FYI, this is a pre-war building, so obviously no central AC, no laundry. This is a pre-war apartment unit, and the building management, they need to send exterminators in to regularly cover holes up or whatever, or else it becomes a breeding ground for mice, roaches, you name it. And that's exactly what this place has become. Any given night, I'll just be looking over at the floor and rodent runs right across the floor, in or out my front door, under my oven, like into my closet. It's reached a point where I feel like I can walk into the apartment and I can smell. I don't know if it's feces or the circle of life that's happening with these little creatures, but I can smell it. And it's like, I can't believe that I'm living in a place that smells like that. And then there's the cockroaches. At any point in time, I'll just be cooking and I'll open up the cabinet and a cockroach just comes flying towards my face. And that's my life. Like, it's when I tell you that it's disgusting, I don't think disgusting even begins to describe it. And I don't know, like maybe I just got used to living like this. Maybe I thought that this was my worth. I think that after talking to a few of my friends, it's really when I realized that I can't live like this anymore. And I was talking to Art and he was like, dude, you need to move out of there. Like, you need to get out of there pronto. That's when I realized he was right. I can't continue to live like this. And so last week I took up issue, filed a formal notice of vacancy for this unit with my company. And they of course tried to push back. They tried their level best. I mean, this, I feel like, constitutes an inhabitable place to live. You've got, water pouring through the ceiling. It's no longer pouring through the ceiling because there's no more ice. It's summer now, but the structural damage that's been done to that ceiling, there was a smoke detector there, the light is there. You think about the wiring in there, that could be a fire hazard. The hygiene issues that brings up. I've started to have like rashes on my skin and doctors have no idea what's causing it. And I feel like it's probably caused by something to do with that. And I don't know, like I feel like that constitutes a place that human beings cannot live a healthy life in, And so, the management company tried their level best to push back, but I said, hey, I know my rights, and I know my rights as a tenant, I know my rights as a human being, and you cannot subject me to live in a place like this. That's what I told them, and they finally let me break my lease. I'm moving out. It doesn't feel real, honestly. This is the last video that you are going to see filmed right here in this apartment. This is where it all began, and thank God, this is where it's all ending. Really doesn't feel real. Now we get to the part that I mentioned earlier, and I think that Art's definitely ecstatic about this, but I actually am moving into a studio unit in the same building that Art lives in, up by Lincoln Square, like the lower Upper West Side area near Columbus Circle, and I couldn't be more excited. We toured this apartment, I think a week and a half ago, and it was everything that I wanted and more. Honestly, I'm excited to decorate this apartment. I feel like one of the reasons that I didn't decorate this apartment was because I knew that my time here would probably be limited. But this apartment, I'm so excited to show you guys. But this leads me to my next point, which is I'm gonna need your help in terms of decorating the apartment, furnishing the apartment. I'm not sure how much furniture I want to take from this apartment over to the next apartment, because in terms of hygiene, in terms of roaches. People have talked about, if you have roaches in your apartment, the more things that you take to your next apartment, the higher your risk is of taking them with you. And that's obviously not something that I want to do. And also I didn't have that much furniture to begin with. This was my starter apartment. I would love to hear your guys' insight on what I should decorate my apartment with. And also I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about all of this. I feel like this is sort of clear and cut, but I of course want to hear your guys' opinion about this. If you watched the last Cooper and Art episode, we went into this a lot, and a lot of people were so helpful in the comments section. I loved hearing what you guys had to say about this situation. You guys were incredibly supportive. Also, I'm gonna be attaching a link at the end of this video. If you guys want to help me out with my next apartment, it's an Amazon wish list. There's a few things on there where I was thinking maybe this could be a good addition to my apartment. God, I'm so excited for it. I mean, I'm literally counting down the days. There's 2 days, by the way. I'm moving in on Monday. God, I just can't believe this is real. Let me know what you guys want to see next. I'm thinking about doing an apartment tour of my next apartment once it's all furnished and once I've got everything set up. And go check out that Amazon wish list. I'm gonna be putting things on there all day today, tomorrow. I cannot wait to show you guys what it ends up looking like. So I'll see you guys next week.